I think about is my kids, the impact that it had on them originally, and the impact that it has, from their peer groups going forward. So, again, I'm certainly not making myself to be an angel by no means. There was mistakes made, and but to find closure, I think it's just a case of being clear with what happened, reasoning what happened. There is a rationale. It certainly didn't make it right, what transpired, but on the other hand, it certainly, I think it will bring into focus the events that happened, me personally, and at some point people have a certain understanding. The real crux of it was I did just before we landed, I think my anger level was at its point, and whatever. But I did the old Clint Eastwood handgun at him, sort of like he did with, and that was the wrong thing to do on a flight. I mean, in my mind, it was even stupid to do as an individual, but let alone on a 747 with 340 some passengers. I mean, it was just absolutely, in hindsight, ridiculous. And the prosecutor actually asked for 90 days, which surprised me because I thought they had a deal. And all I could think of is, why this is going on at sentencing is that how am I going to get my truck home and who's going to feed my dog? It really was one of them shockers. So, and then process handed, and then I went over to the judge and basically at his mercy, and I apologized and that, and he said, quite frankly, that he was really indecisive. It was serious, but on the other hand, he did understand that the only thing he had in front of him was the rationalization. So that's where I got they did drop the endangering the aircraft,
mm-hmm.
and
that's the serious charge.
Well, I mean, that's that's the guy that in reality is taking the bomb on the plane. I mean, and that wasn't what happened. It was more of a psychological misstep.
Yeah, I mean, you got off pretty easy.
Yeah, and in the view of most, they would understand that too, that it was a slap on the wrist. I was facing some pretty serious stuff that could have done some pretty serious jail time. Mm-hmm. I'm certainly not proud of that by no means. But what happened through the process, and it was quite lengthy, 18 appearances actually in Toronto. There was a process where exactly what I'm telling you about, the psychological aspect of it, was grounded out. And I went through a lengthy process of, I won't call it observation, but rationalization why, rather, and that was through, a lot of it was out of pocket, but a lot of it was driven by, let's find the answers. And that's actually where I found a lot of the answers. It coincided with, presenting what happened to the court. I got 2 years probation from last March. That'll end next March. Basically, I got community service, which I've done pretty much most of it. I think there's some hours that it was 150 hours. So
what did you do in terms of that?
Actually, some stuff that I would not mind doing again. Yeah. Just on, I did helped out at a dog show with some friends that run that. I've done, you do an essay and some other stuff, but also, and I don't know why in all my political years I never did the Big Brothers Bowl-a-thon. So I went in with that, and so things along that line. So it's been a very positive experience that way and an eye-opener. I certainly would have liked to go on in better circumstances, but on the other hand, too, there's a lot of things that particularly the Bowl-a-thon and things like that, I've come to terms with the fact that, I'm certainly not, I'm embarrassed to a point for me, but was my family that I really felt bad about, because unless you really knew the story, even if you do know the story, it's not right. But I mean, some of the stuff I was hearing and stuff like that, I mean, one fellow blogged, some of the circumstances which were totally off base, and something about receiving a medal that they asked for back, and just wasn't that wasn't the case at all. Yeah. But anyways, but the family was the biggest thing. But I've come to terms with it, and this is kind of the closure, as I would say, for me personally, to move on.